Twitch, send out to Twitter, get the bot in here, and send out Discord stuff. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is, I don't know why I keep wanting to say February, April 12th, and this is the April 12th X-Quest Devstream. So, today we are going to be continuing our work on, I was going to say custom adventures. Man, I am out of it today. And speaking of out of it, I need to walk on screen. We're going to do coding, and I'm going to assume some design. It's mostly going to be coding today, I think. Anyway, so we're going to be continuing our work on combat and refactoring the combat system to make it a little bit more exciting. And to start, we are going to focus primarily on flow. And by what I mean by flow, I mean getting attacks to, or getting these prompts to appear on screen at specific positions, and having typing a specific one indicate or initiating a specific combat maneuver. So basically, what that means is, let's say you choose to start combat, so you type in battle into the start screen or into the main screen, which I can turn on for visual aid. So you type in battle, and then it goes into battle mode. The menu goes away for the most part, and you get 3 prompts. Let's say I choose to go right. Okay, then the other prompts will fade away. Right will remain for a little bit longer. We'll have a camera movement and character movement as well to indicate where you, the player, are moving. And we are going to basically get this to a chain sequence to where we can get to the end of combat or to a fail state, and then restart the combat scene or the combat turn. So that's a really, really sloppy way of me saying that basically we're going to get it so that when you type something, it goes to a different camera angle and slightly different set dressing. So to start off, let's see here. I'm not entirely sure how I want to handle this. I don't know if I should put this in timeline or if I should put this in as like a combat attack label script. It probably would be good to have it be a timeline, because essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to have timeline. I'm going to basically chain timelines. That's how I think I'm going to approach handling combat flow. So basically, instead of having one big master script that has a bunch of references to individual timelines, instead what we'll do is we'll have a base set of timelines that we can launch into. Actually, we'll probably only have one timeline that we launch into, depending on the state that the enemy is in. And then from there, we will branch out into whatever we need to branch out to. So let's go ahead, and we don't really have... Oh, that's interesting. It's because I turned off lighting. Huh. Okay. So let's go ahead, and I suppose we'll want to do this in our combat system. So let's open that up. So I'm going to go ahead and move some things around. Let's see. So combat stance. This is something that we started to do, and it has a list of combat actions. And we're probably... Yes, so this is kind of what we want to do. So if we take a look at this combat manager, you'll see that we have our criteria, which we won't really need any criteria because this is just mostly for like bool checks and data stuff that we don't really care about. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. So we have left, right, and jump, and then we need to set up our playable directors. But before we can do this, we actually need to have a base cutscene as well, so a base playable director that we can call. So we need to go over to combat action, and not this, sorry, not combat action, we want combat stance. Here we are. And we are going to need, let's see, so we have a health range, that's the most important thing, and then we're going to need a public, I can't do it yet because I need to say using Unity Engine.playables. Using, not that. Unity Engine.playables. Okay. I'm going to say public playable director. this will be our. Actually, you know what? We may end up simplifying this. So instead of having combat stance have an array of actions, we would probably have um, instead we would simply have it have a single playable director. So public playable. If I could type playable director, what do we want to call this? I guess we'll call it timeline. So that's the timeline that will play. Tooltip. Timeline to play when this stance is active. Okay. And let's see. So the list of actions the player can take will be moved instead to a timeline script. And this is going to be interesting. I've been trying to think about how I want to spawn in the attack labels. I'm a little concerned because they need to be positioned ideally over whatever the direction or the object that they're referring to is, which means that they need to be able to be parented in case it's moving around, or maybe possibly animated. And I also need to make sure that they're always facing the camera. That one's not too hard to do, I don't think, but it is a thing I need to keep in mind when I'm doing all of this. So if we go back over to here, Combat Manager, now we should have a playable director, and we don't actually care about these actions because they're going to go somewhere else. So I'm going to go ahead and create a folder under Timeline. I'm going to call this... what do I want to call this? I suppose we'll call it... I can't call it Combat Action, so I guess it would be... Jeez. Attack section? Ugh. That's such a terrible name. I don't want to call it Attack Wave either. Alright, fine. So this is going to be create playables. We'll need a playable behavior. I'm going to call this... I guess we'll just say attack. If I can spell attack. Attack section behavior. Let that compile. We will also want to create a playable asset, which we will call attack section clip, which we'll finish typing once it compiles, because it does that really annoying thing where Unity freezes. Alright. Let that be created. Let's go ahead and open that up. And we will also want to open up attack section behavior, which it's not going to want to do, so I'm going to open it up this way. Attack section behavior. Alright. This is going to be in the text quest namespace, of course, as is our text section clip. Text quest. Alright, so we're going to start nice and easy. We're going to say script playable. No, that's right. Attack section behavior playable is equal to script playable attack section behavior dot create. Except I can't spell create apparently, based on the graph. Oy, these are always so long. We'll return playable, and then we're going to say attack section behavior is equal to playable. Wow, really? Get behavior. Okay, don't have anything to do there right now, but we will set that up. Okay, so what are we going to need here? This is going to need our list of combat section, or combat actions. So we'll need to say serialize field, private. Private. Let's see, what was it? Combat action. Actions. New. Combat action 0. Okay, so that's the possible phrases. Um, that might have to expand a bit, actually. So if I go to definition here, oh, geez, I might need a transform. Oh, geez, that's gonna get really convoluted. Okay. Um, hmm, not liking that. I'm gonna go ahead and create a basic timeline so we can kind of see what this is gonna look like. Once it compiles, of course. So we have stance relaxed, which we kind of have. Let's go over here to timeline. So this is going to require a playable track. We can right click and clip attack section clip. And well, thank you for following, Paul. Oh, you got your name changed. All right. Oh, I guess just your old account. That works too. Either way, welcome back. How are you doing today? Okay, so we have our attack section clip. If we go ahead and make this 3, we can have left, right, and jump. And unfortunately, we are going to apparently have to redo this property drawer because, as you can see, it is not really enjoying it. It's not set up properly. That's always wonderful. So there are a couple of other things that we actually have to do here too. We need a transform. Oh, geez, we just have tons of stuff that we actually need. But I guess we can put that underneath this fold out. So let's go ahead and handle that real quick. Let's see. So we have combat action. Okay, let's go over here real quick. Combat action, find all references. Where's my property drawer? There you are. Okay. So we are going to, let's see, property of, yeah, this is going to get fun. Doing all right. How about you? Well, that's good that you're doing all right. I am. My default response to that is always just, we'll see how the Devstream goes. Because if I flounder around and I can't really get anything done tonight, then I will be sad. But otherwise, I'm doing pretty all right. So let's see. We need to change our command here, I believe. Right? Yes. And we want it to be position.width plus equals 10. So this is the problem. Position.width times 0.5. That is... Huh. That's weird. Width times 0.5. So do I just not need to do this? So my problem arises from the fact that this is like slightly over the playable director field, which is weird to me. I feel like we might have a indented rect problem, which is always frustrating because now if we go to Combat Manager and look at it, yeah, now we have a gap. Why can't I have nice things? That means that I'm just not handling this very well. It means that if I nest this even more, it would get worse and worse and worse. And I think that's because of how indented recs are handled, and it's frustrating that that's the case. Anywho, so let's go ahead and we'll keep it as is right now, but we need to change it so that when we open up our property, when we expand it, we don't just show criteria. We also need to show, I think, transform and a bool. So the transform would be its location, and the bool will be its if it should be parented to that location. Otherwise, it will just be spawned at that location and then face the player. That's all it's going to do. So we're going to need to go to combat action, go to definition. Let's move these two side of each other. All right. So we don't. Oh, we don't actually even need criteria anymore. That's right, because that's been moved to the. Well. Yeah, it's been moved. Okay. So yeah, we don't need the. Wait, what the heck? No, timeout. We do need criteria. Okay, false alarm there. So we do need to also have public Let's see. So this is a transform. This will be spawn point. Go ahead and tooltip that. So point. Oops. Point to spawn the label at, and we will also go ahead and say public. Can't type. Bool parent to spawn is equal to false, and this is going to simply say tooltip if true will parent the spawned label to the target transform. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, right, it's a struct, so I can't. Yeah, there we go. I always forget that about structs, that you can't initialize fields, and it always makes me sad. Let's see. So we're gonna go ahead and let that compile. And before we do anything else, I guess I need to go over to the drawer, and I'm gonna have to say height plus equals pretty much gonna be this exact same thing. Let's go ahead and paste that in there, and paste this in there, except it's going to be these things. Aha. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead, and if we are expanded, then we're going to do all of this fun stuff. And we're going to say GUI dot property field position property dot find property relative dot dot dot. Okay, that's going to be our parent to spawn. That is not going to be our parent to spawn. I completely lied about that. And then we're going to do some fun. Position dot y plus equals. I kind of wonder if I can just say position dot height. I feel like I can, but we'll find out if that's actually true or not. Parent to spawn point. Okay. So let's let that compile, and now when we look at our clip, our attack section clip inspector, it should have some extra fields when we actually toggle it open. Because hooray for custom editor magic. Alright, so if we open this up, we should see not that at all. That is completely wrong. Which I guess means I can just do this. I'm not entirely sure why I don't. I kind of wonder why I don't just do this, I guess. Also, I'm actually a little worried that editor GUI utility dot single line height. I'm actually a little worried now that having those extra fields there just threw everything out of whack. It's entirely possible that happened, but we'll find out after this compiles, because it should show everything. Actually, that's a lie, because it's going to deselect the clip, because Timeline doesn't like to preserve selections for some reason. Welcome to Unity, everyone. Actually, it's probably because it has to regenerate all that. But anyway, yeah, then we get that stupid little... the fields overlap slightly. That's annoying. Oh well, it's fine for now. Okay, so we have a spawn point now, and then we have a parent to spawn. Are we getting any... Okay, good. We are getting hover text. So, okay. So we should be able to specify the actual transforms that we want them to spawn at. That'll make things a little bit easier for us. But now we need to handle actually spawning them, and furthermore, we need to handle actually getting to the point where we can play through these combat sections. So, this is something that I've been trying to figure out how I want to handle this, because it... So the nice thing about having them be parented to transforms, or positioned at transforms, means that I can place the transforms pretty much anywhere, and it will be fine, regardless of how I move the camera, because the camera, or they'll just rotate to look at the camera anyway. The problem comes in visualizing that, because currently the only way I can think to actually visualize where they will be is to pull in a prefab and then have it just be there while I work. That's far from ideal. It would be really nice if I could come up with a way to handle automatically drawing these meshes in real time, but I I know how to do that with meshes, but I don't know how to do that with UI elements like this. So I don't think it's possible right now, which sucks. Or at the very least, it's beyond me. So I guess we're stuck with kind of manually positioning these and then putting transforms in their exact same spot. Not ideal, but it'll work. Okay, so we'll have the first cutscene that we work on, which is just this initial attack. So we're going to have a slow drift forward, likely, although we do need to move this. So our active camera here is listed as action camera, and we're going to need to... Oh, man, that changes things, doesn't it? Man, we got to have a lot of virtual cameras in this now, I think. Let's go ahead and turn on idle camera. And we are going to... Let's see. We need to position these a little bit closer. Yeah, we might want to. So I'm going to go ahead and move the troll up by about 1 or 2. Let's move the hero up. Yeah, they're really close there. Let's move them back 1 each. Right about there. That's not too bad. Okay, and we're going to have the troll be rotated 0 degrees. Let's see. Hero is rotated 0 degrees. Okay, I'm liking it. Let's go back over here to our idle camera. We're going to kind of drag these around, move it up a little bit. So that seems reasonable. Let's go ahead and turn on our combat view and make sure everything looks nice. Okay, so we want to move our idle camera, I think, down, right about there. That looks good. So it places the enemy a little farther away. And while we're doing this, let's go ahead and turn off our canvas here. Places the enemy a little farther away, but it's not terrible. So the other thing I need to consider here is perspective. I need to know basically how these labels are going to look. So it'd be nice if I could have these actually be parented and look to the camera, but I don't think I can do that. No, sadly not. So we're going to kind of have to like eyeball this. Oh yes, and this is the other thing is, so currently my approach is to have a single canvas for all of the attacks, so they're just underneath this canvas. I actually don't know if I can do that, because if these get parented to basic transforms and not rect transforms that are underneath the canvas, they will just straight up become invisible. To show you what I mean, so this is the right attack. If I turn this off, you'll see right go away. If I move this out from under canvas, it's gone. It's gone forever. No one knows where it is. As far as it's concerned, it doesn't exist. So I think I'm actually going to have every attack be a canvas. Now that kind of sucks because if you've messed with Yugui's system, every canvas is an extra draw call, and there's no way around that. It's just part of how the system works, and that sucks because it means that this scene would go from... Actually, I'm kind of curious. How many draw calls do I have? I have 24 batches, and 8 of those are saved. So I guess set pass calls. I have 23 set pass calls right now, which is basically the old way of saying draw calls. And if I give these each their own canvas, so let's go ahead and go down here. We're going to add a canvas component. Okay. Go ahead and turn on stats. Oh, that's interesting. My batches have gone down. Okay. Well, maybe they've changed things. Let's go ahead and add more canvases. Oh. Well, maybe they have changed it. Of course, that's all of them underneath the same parent. Now, if I move them to here... Wow, it got even cheaper. Oh, and also they went away. Which is... weird. Oh, timeout. That's why, because it got moved over the wrong canvas. Let's put it here. Here we are. So now they've just straight up disappeared. Which is interesting. What the heck happened? They all just like shot off. Okay, timeout. We're going to move these back to underneath the canvas. We're going to do this one at a time. I'm going to hit F over here. Okay, so I'm going to drag you out to here. And you just like rock it off, huh? Well, okay then. I've not seen them do that before, so this is interesting. I'm going to move this down. So I have to like find this and bring it all the way back up. I guess I could have just zeroed this out, couldn't I have? 0. Let's zero you all out. Also gotta love how it's incredibly tiny scale. Alright, so this is what it will look like. Move this over. I wonder if it's actually sized itself. Can't really tell. I don't think it's done anything weird. I think its rect transform is exactly correct, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. Okay. And I made the mistake of choosing the label. Ugh. That's that really fun thing where TextMesh Pro, the first time you select it after booting up Unity, it has to initialize a ton of resources, and it causes a massive lag spike, so now I can't do anything until that's finished. So, well, while that's happening, anything exciting going on? I feel like there was something exciting that happened today, or yesterday, or the day before that. What was it? I know that Unity released some mathematic tools, or mathematic functions that it can work with to be more efficient than the current mathematics system, I think. Because the idea is supposed to be like it's built for the burst compiler and whatnot. That was pretty cool. I've got the GitHub page bookmarked and I've kind of looked over it, but I haven't really done anything with it yet. It could be interesting. Let's see. Okay, so now go ahead and move these guys out as well. We're going to 0 and 0 and 0, and then 0.01, 0.01. Okay. So these are no longer under one parent canvas. Instead, they are going to be world space canvases themselves. Do we have sorting layer? Probably default will be fine. Event camera. Now, this is, if I'm not mistaken, saw that, didn't look into the details either. Yeah, the mathematics stuff, it seems like it's largely meant to speed up math functions or math calculations, and it's meant to work in conjunction with their new burst compiler to run very efficiently, but I haven't really looked into it beyond that. I still haven't really messed with burst compiler. I should probably give that a shot at some point. Anyway, so if I remember correctly, a fun thing about canvases that are world space, if you don't assign an event camera to it, then it's going to search for camera.main every frame, which is... Oh, really? They have a swizzling syntax now? Ah! That's well, I guess that makes sense, right? Because they were talking about doing like shader syntax, so it makes sense that they would have swizzling in that case. But yeah, that's really nice. Because that's one of the more, well, I guess that's kind of, I don't know. I'll have to look into the actual way that they're structuring it. Because I'm not really sure of how different that is from how they currently do vector 2s. Because, I mean, you kind of would just go, well, no, that's not true. I don't know. I need to look into it. I didn't realize they added swizzling syntax, but that's kind of cool. Anyway. So if you don't assign a camera here, then every frame it's going to look for camera.main and it won't assign it to this field. It'll just look for camera.main. And if you've seen any of the optimization talks that people have given on Unity, calling camera.main is basically the same thing as looking for a game object with the tag main camera every frame. And that's not a good thing. It is definitely not a good thing. So I'm going to go ahead and position these things real quick just so that we can see where they are. Here's left. And we're going to try to like position these in ways that make sense. So this is going to be kind of weird. So we have, I'm going to try the new fancy multi-rotate position and scale tool. So we're going to have this be here. Let's position you like right here. Here is the left one. So I'm sorry, that's the jump. So I want jump to be fairly high up, somewhere like there. And left. Which this one's a little trickier because I don't really know how to make it feel like it's to the left unless I actually rotate it like that and position it farther away. So I'm a little concerned with how how difficult it is to actually read that on a gray background. So I'm going to go ahead and make their backgrounds all a fair bit darker. Let's go for 200F. That's still not enough. 225. I like that a lot more. Okay. So some transparency, but not a ton. Let's see. It's still kind of hard to tell, though. So I don't think we can rely on our highlights being gray either. They probably need to be something... Let's see if we can get a color out of it that doesn't look like crap. So don't really know if these should be your favorite color. So by default, that's red. I could do that. But... Well, but then it's harder to know which one you're actually typing, which I guess actually, geez. So how we could handle this is we can highlight them all in red, or your favorite color, and then once you start typing one, we make the other ones become gray, and focus primarily on the one that you're typing. That would probably work. And whatever text effects we had going on as well would remain. Oh, and speaking of text effects, I'm curious to see what this looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and save the scene right now. I'm just going to hit play because we still have the oh, geez, of course I selected this. Anyway, hello Acheron. Acheron? Acheron. I want to say Acheron, but it's AE, which makes me think Acheron. Ooh, it could be Acheron. Either way, hello. Welcome to the Devstream. How are you doing today? Also, I apologize. I'm terrible with names. So. So, either works, but I said 3. Does that mean Icaron or Acheron? Or Acheron? Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and hit play real quick, and we're going to see what the highlight vibration looks like, because I'm kind of curious to see what it looks like here. Hopefully it will still work. Ake or Ak? Okay, not Eek. Oh, it picked the wrong one. So, timeout. I guess that means I'm going to turn off my action camera or my item camera. Both of them will be fine. So that's currently what I have for the incorrect choice. I did figure out how to make the indicator not fly off and return home. All right, I will try to say. I'll probably say Acheron because I'm a Midwestern pleb. Mostly because Ake is. I don't know. I don't really say Ake very often. All right, so this is kind of the vibration that I think we can work with. I tried to make the jagged outlines work, but the problem is that I can't get them to uniformly disperse themselves. So it's hard to make them all the same size whenever I'm doing that. Like I would have to have them set in a sprite that's the exact size of the text that it's going to be around, and I can't really do that very well. So I need to come up with like another way of doing 9 slicing, which is sad and disappointing. But I'll still look into that because I do like having the jagged lines instead of the straight lines. And of course, if we want, we can go ahead and let's turn off maximize on play. We can adjust this stuff at runtime. Let's see, so we have behaviors, we want indicator shake. So let's go ahead and change speed 2.25. That makes it rumble a little bit more. We can change our distance. We can go up to like 5. I don't really like going past 5 because it gets a little crazy. But I mean, we can go like to 10, and then it kind of goes all over the place. If we wanted to, we could do 100. I feel like that's a bit too much. But it's nice because now it no longer flies off if you go too fast. So I actually fixed a terrible coding front that I had in there. Yeah, that's what happens when you have too much vibration. So let's go ahead and move that down to like 5 again. And I think we're going to take away the rotating text, mostly because I actually really like that as just a thing that happens anyway. So it might be nice to have certain characters that you fight have different text effects being applied to their vertex animations, just to help build out their character more. Like I could see Uh, I'm trying to think of non-spoilery fights that I can give away, like a fight where this rotation is happening for something that's mechanical, or a fight where the shake is happening when you're fighting a monster of some kind. Uh, I kind of don't want to use this to indicate danger. I would prefer to use that as just a way to indicate maybe challenge or something special. Um, so let's go ahead and turn on maximize on play. And yeah, so that doesn't look too bad. Um, okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop playing. And we are going to want to do a couple of things. So our initial timeline is going to have... let me think. So if we have the concept of states for the enemies, basically associating states with particular particular amounts of health that an enemy has. So for the troll, I'm thinking we're just going to have two states. We're going to have relaxed state and then an aggressive state. And relaxed state would be between 5 and 2 health, while aggressive state would be between 2 and 1 health, or 2 and 0 health. But when we do that, we need to figure out, like with the troll, for example, we talked about giving it a club. And then if you go to the right while the club is to the right, then it would just hit you and you'd lose the round, basically, automatically, even if you typed it correctly, because you need to pay attention. The problem is that I don't know if I should make the club a state and therefore have a different cutscene, or if I should make the club not really a state and... No, that doesn't really... We're going to turn off the action item cameras. So this is what it would currently look like. Let's go ahead and blow this up a little bit. Oh, also, Acheron, how'd you find out about the stream? I don't think I've seen you on here before, and I always like to ask people that stop by how they got on it. I didn't ask you, Paul, yesterday or on Tuesday because I assume you came with the cheer train. Although if you didn't, I apologize. So I don't know if I should treat the club position as a state, or if or a stance, or if I should treat it as like a substance or something. Because I kind of imagine my current approach with the stances is more like a Final Fantasy type boss, if you think about it, where you can have a boss with a set amount of health, and then once it gets down to like half health, it switches into a different mode, and then it does different attacks, or it does certain attacks more frequently. That's pretty much what I was kind of using as a basis for this design. But with the addition of things like changing postures, I don't know if I should have that be, maybe rename it a little bit. So instead of calling it stances, maybe the stance is the troll's club position, and then the like phase instead of stances would make more sense here. Actually, that does make more sense, I think. So we would have phases, and then phases have stances. That makes sense. Yes. Okay. So let's do that. So we're gonna go over here. Let's close some scripts that I don't need open right now. Don't need you. Don't need you. And okay. So let's go and collapse the behaviors, and we have a combat stance. I should probably change this to, or let's add a script called combat phase. If it chooses to register my right click. Here we are. Combat phase. So each combat phase will have a range of health, and then it will contain a list of stances, and then we need to figure out how we want to swap between those stances. Oh boy. Okay. I guess we could make that a scriptable behavior as well. Holy crap, I'm gonna like this entire system is going to be built on scriptable behaviors that can be swapped out at run or at will. That's kind of cool. That means that I can adjust this stuff really, really easily. Okay. Wrong thing. Combat phase. Here we are. Okay, so we're going to make this text quest namespace. Combat phase is probably going to be a struct as well. Doesn't really need to be a class. Let's go ahead and get rid of you. It is going to be, of course, system.serializable. And then we're going to have a public vector2. We'll say vector2 int, actually. And this will be health range is equal to new vector2 int. We'll say 1 to 2 or 1 to 0. Okay, and let's go ahead and just kind of take. Oh, that's not it. Combat stance. That's what I want over here. Go ahead and grab you. Paste that in there. Is there anything else that I really want from combat stance? No, we don't want to change the timeline. We do want to change this. So we're going to go ahead and put this in here. And then we are also going to want... I wonder if I should have a string for a name here. That wouldn't actually help me. It would just be used for editor organization. That's probably not worth it. So, okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to say public combat stance array stances is equal to new combat stance of 0. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to go over to combat system, drag that all the way over. So instead of having stances here, now we're going to have, go ahead and just delete that and say combat phase. Phases is equal to new combat phase of 0. All right. Oh, crap. What? Ah, oh, dang it. I named something the same thing twice. Great. This is what happens. Yep. This is what happens when I remake an entire system. It's all named the same. Okay. Crap. That's annoying because that was a really good name. And of course it was a good name because I already used it. Okay, shoot. That means I need to change this. So I'm probably going to call this .combat for now. This will be interesting. And we'll say using combat phase equal to, this is something I've not really done before. Let me see if I can get this right. sleepyowl.textquest.combat.combatphase. I think this is how we do it. Yes, pretty sure. Nope, not at all right. Okay. Well, that's sad. Dang it. That's annoying. Okay. Fine. Be that way. Then we're going to do this. .combat. We don't need you. Combat attack is not what you are anymore. And there we go. So we're going to work within the combat namespace. Let's see what if that allows us to do things a little bit better. Oh, and then of course we have that fun thing. Close you. Okay. Well, while that's compiling, take a drink. All right. Open up combat phase again. Yes, we will change all of our things. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to need is, man, this is super weird. So we need combat phases which have stances, and then we need the stances to have their attacks. Now, after that, we're going to need to have combat stance behaviors, and this will be determining how stances change within a given combat scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and create some subfolders here to try and keep things organized. So we're going to say phase stances. Okay. Over here to folder behaviors. So we're going to move combat stance into that. Let that compile, and so we'll have a list of script. No, not a list. It would be a single scriptable object that determines how combat stance changes should happen. And basically, for the very easy one, for the troll, it's just going to change stance every turn. Well, maybe I'll have a percentage. So let's go ahead and create C# script. Oh, dang it, I did that while I was still compiling. No! Who knows what could happen? It's chaos. Okay, so this is combat stance behavior. That's actually not what I should have called it. I should have called it like change stance behavior. Yep, that is exactly what I should have called it, but I didn't. And now I have to make a new script. Create script. So this will be change stance behavior. Okay, so this is going to go to textquest.combat. Cool. This is a scriptable object. It is an abstract class. And, alright. So we are going to, I think, say... Oh, you know what's really cool about this? Is how I'm probably going to end up handling this is basically it's going to pass in an integer. And that integer will be the number of turns that it's been. So that number would, continually go up potentially. But I wonder if I could I could see situations where like every stance change it gets more aggressive basically. Oh man, that that could be interesting. We're not going to do that with the troll, but that could be an interesting future thing. Basically, if you take too long in a fight, then maybe the stance changes to be this hyper aggressive thing that's incredibly hard to fight against. Yeah, just a thought. Okay, so with change stance behavior and scriptable object, what do we need from it? We're going to need a public int, and that would be public int. That's going to be the index that gets returned for the stance you should shift to, I guess. Check or change stance. Or how about update stance, I guess? Update stance. That's going to take in int turn count, int max stance count, and it's going to be abstract. I don't really know what else I would need from that. So you'd have the number of turns that it's been and then the total possible number of stances. That's all I can really think to use here. Because the idea is that the individual criteria is just spelled out in the individual change stance behavior. Which will probably be pretty specific to the individual enemy that you're fighting. Let's go ahead and let that compile. Create a folder. Call that troll. And we're going to have a change, or I guess troll stance behavior would be what I call that. Um, hmm. No, that's right. Okay, I was a little concerned, thinking like, how are we going to handle this for multiple phases? But each phase has its own stance behavior, so that's fine actually. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because we don't need you anymore. And then we're going to go back to combat phase. Oh, that's interesting. That okay then. And this is going to have a public no, change stance behavior stance stance behavior, I guess. Don't really know what else to call that. Let's go ahead and tooltip that. How the stances are cycled or changed, or cycled through. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to create C# script, and we're going to say, assuming it compiles, because it always compiles just as I hit create. Hey, there we go. So we're going to call this troll stance behavior. I can't spell. I almost spelled it behavior. Okay. Let that compile. Let's open this up. All right. So this is going to be in TextQuest and .combat. It is going to be derived from change stance behavior. It is going to override update stance. Get rid of this throw exception. Go back over to this definition real quick. Okay, that's good. All right, so for the troll, we essentially just want to have it alternate for the most part. But I'll go ahead and let's serialize some fields real quick. So we'll say private float change chance. This will be, I'm going to say 0.5f. I'll make this a range attribute between 0f and 1f. Okay. And here we'll just simply say, oh, you know what? You know what update stance does need? It needs a, we'll return 0 for now here. It probably should actually take an int that represents the current stance. So turn count, stance count. So we'll say int stance index. I guess we'll rename this to max stance count as well, so that it's a little less ambiguous. I'm going to go ahead and copy this, move this over to here. Okay. And then we're going to say if random.value is, we'll say less than or equal to change chance, then how would we want to phrase that? Let's say int new stance is equal to stance index. Okay, so if our random value, which is a random float value between 0 and 1, if that is less than the change chance that we have specified, which is also a normalized value between 0 and 1, then we want to shift stances. There are only 2 stances, right? No, there probably should be 3. 1 for left, 1 for right, and 1 for if you try to jump. Oh, that complicates things so much. Because now I need to figure out, do I want to like weight them so that some are more common than others? Okay. Well, how do we want to handle this? There can be 3 stances, potentially. So, update stance. I don't know if I just want to cycle them or not. I suppose we'll just cycle them for now. That's probably not too bad. Okay. And it is the first fight after all, so I don't really need it to be super complex. So we're just going to say if our random value is less than our change chance, we'll say new stance plus plus, and then we'll say if new stance is greater than or equal to max stance count, then we'll say new stance is equal to 0. And we can probably make that all one line. Boop. Okay, and we will return new stance. Okay. So this should just allow us to have our troll automatically handle its stance changing without any effort on the combat systems part. It'll just be done with this scriptable object. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say create asset menu, file name is equal to this, then menu name is equal to that. All right, so we're going to want to go to, let's see, SOS, text quest, combat, stance, behaviors, and then troll. Troll, stance, behavior. Okay. So I think that's all we need. I suppose I should tooltip this just so I don't forget what it does. And that's going to be chance that the troll's stance will iterate to the next stance. Okay. Let that compile, and then once that's done compiling, we should be able to create that scriptable object and assign it. So that's going to be interesting. God, this new system is going to be super timeline heavy. I also really wish I understood why it keeps going like back and forth to the action camera when it makes no sense for it to do so while it's disabled. So let's go. Oh, it's probably because my timeline was still selected somehow. All right, so we need to go to, where are you? Combat Manager. Phases. Let's go ahead and have one phase. Okay, health range. This will be from 5 to 2. And then we will create SOS, text quest, combat, attack, or stance behaviors, troll stance behavior. All right, let's go back here to combat manager. We're going to drag this in there. So there's our stance behavior. Our stances are next. So these are going to be, we have 3 stances. And no, I lied. We have 1 stance. No, we have 3 stances. Oh, that's right. These don't have actions anymore. Duh. Okay, so I'm going to go to, let's see, combat stance. Where are you? Where are you? I don't know where you are. I'll just open you up over here. Assuming I can find it. There it is. Okay. So we no longer want that. This is just going to determine basically the starting attack timeline. Okay. Which makes sense because the actual timelines that get played will determine the attack labels that show up. That makes sense. Okay. Let that compile. And I swear, one of these days we will actually get to a point where we can test all of this. It's just a lot of build-up to get to that. Because of the complexity of the system that we're building. So I apologize that it's largely going to be code for a while. Anyway, so let's go back over here to Combat Manager. All right, we got our different playable directors. And now, keep in mind that it's entirely possible that these don't actually need to be different playable directors. They can be the exact same one and play the exact same timeline. It's just that I want to have the option to play different playable directors if in the future I choose to do so. Because it could be that there are very different stances that change or that happen. In fact, the second combat scenario that you run into is against a spider that will shift between high and low positions, and the attack animation that plays at the start will be different depending on what it is. So this is something that I need to do. But for now, I can simply have it be this. They're probably all going to be the same, admittedly. Um, okay, so that is the stances and our stance behavior. Um, but we do. Okay, so we have the timelines, but we do need to have information about what should change when the stances change. For the troll, it's largely just the club moving around, but that means that we need to have that information. So, how can I do that? I can't really put that in a scriptable object because it has to be part of the scene. And I don't want to make it a mono behavior because that seems stupid to me. So what can I do there? Um, I can't really make it a serialized class because it won't know what to do with it. Crap. That's okay. Um, hmm. Maybe the troll itself would have information on stances. Oh, but that seems weird. I would have different. Maybe I should move phases out of combat system and onto the enemy. So the actual enemy that you're fighting. Because then it would know what to do with its phases, I think. Well, no, it would still run into the same problem. Where I can't really convey any useful information in stances here. Um, Crap. What do I do there then? Geez. I might have to split it up. So phases would be contained in Combat Manager, and there would also be phases on the enemy. And those phases would be... They would only need to know the index that you're currently at, and then they could position themselves properly. That's not great. I can't really think of a better way to handle that. Just because it has to... The problem is that the stances are very specific. Like, the troll has a club, but nothing else really after that has a club. Um, the spider doesn't have any weapon, obviously, and it has high and low positions, so that's a completely different thing. So yeah, I guess I need to. That's so disappointing and so frustrating. Um, okay. Ugh. Yeah, that's not great. Is there a way for me to get around that? Not really. Crap. Okay. Crap. Yeah, that gets even worse when I consider all the other stuff that I have to do. Okay, so let's, for the time being, not worry about the actual animation side of it. So making it look correct. Let's instead focus on getting the timeline flow working. Also, I was actually mistaken before. We probably will still have to have different playable timelines here because the attack that's dangerous will change each time, and that would change, or that change would be based on the timeline that's playing it. Oy, okay. So let's go to timeline here. Let's turn on action camera. And actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and turn you off. Go back here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this transform value, place this over here on action camera, paste component values, turn you on. Okay. So now, if we go to timeline, select this, we have our action camera set up. We need to handle player animations. No, we're not worried about the animations yet. Let's focus on getting these attacks to spawn and be typable next. And then we'll focus on getting the next cutscene to play after that. So, we have our attack section clip. These have a playable director, and okay, in addition, context. Oh, right, that's my thing that I created. I forgot about that. So let's go ahead and go back to attack section clip real quick. Oh, right, I forgot I made that a custom thing. I love it when I do things like that. Anyway, so that's this is a context command that I came up with to make all playable clips here allow you to basically fill them out to be the entire length of the timeline. Forgot that I made that. Anyway, so back here in actions. I am also going to have a fail state, so I need to say serialize field, private playable director fail action. I guess it would be fail or failure timeline. That sounds like a post-apocalyptic thing. So let's go ahead and tooltip these. So tooltip the timeline to play if the player fails to type an action. Okay. Tooltip possible actions the player can take. Okay. So, here's where things get interesting. So the timeline here is going to have to figure out if you have succeeded or failed. And that's going to rely on a centralized class knowing if you've typed an action successfully or if you have failed. So, what to do about this? Oh boy, this is starting to spiral pretty heavily. Welcome back, Acheron. Were you getting a drink the entire time? Jeez. That is... Do you have to go to the bar? Man. Okay, so we have our playable director that we'll have to play. Man, this is going to be... I was complaining about how long content took to produce before. This is going to be even crazier because I need like unique fail animations for all of the timelines. Why do I put so much work on myself? Okay. Again, though, we're not going to worry about that yet. We just want to see if we can get to a success or fail state. So we want to be able to spawn the attacks, type them out, and then determine if we failed or succeeded. Okay. So let's go over here to Combat Manager. And okay. So can I do that? I totally can. Oh, that's actually not that bad at all. Okay. Well, maybe. We'll see how this works. Go ahead and get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Okay. I need to go to attack section clip and attack section behavior. All right. So, I feel like I didn't... Whatever. That would be the cat running around the house. Went to Food Lion to get cash back. And bought a root beer. Aha! I knew beer was involved somehow. Regardless of whether or not it's of the root. Okay, so we're going to want in the attack behavior here, we have a couple of things. One, it has to do all of this. So let's copy this, paste it in, make these guys public. Public. All right, so this is going to be really interesting, and I wonder if this will work. I really hope it will. So, how am I currently handling typing? Let me go ahead and open up my old combat system. Oh, not combat system, I'm sorry. TQ combat. There we go. I'm going to assume that this is done in update. Yes, here we are. Player attack pattern. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and peek this, and then we need to go to definition here. So I'm going to pull this over. I got to remember how I was handling this. I'm pretty sure that I'm just waiting for the player to type, and then once they do, I get the key that has been typed to. Let's see. Yes. Okay. So that's pretty much all I do. So what I do is I check input. I wait for the player to type, and then what I do is I grab the key. And then if it's correct, I add that key to the attack message, and then okay, yeah. So that's a little awkward, but I think I have it. So need to pay attention to the cat because, she's just got such a terrible life, meowing at me all the time. Okay, let's see. So I want to targeted attack is a combat attack. Yep. So I'm just gonna steal this entire thing probably. We're gonna grab this. We're gonna go over to combat attack label. Let's see. There's our enumerators. Put this up here. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Okay. Let's see. So I'm gonna end up pulling quite a bit of stuff out from here. Let's see. Show indicator, hide indicator, show background, hide background, refresh label. Let's grab this. Go back over to here. I'm probably going to be pulling in quite a bit of the functionality that I had in the old stuff. But, I mean, makes sense because that code was decent. I don't really need to do anything with it. Let's go ahead and grab this. Actually, we'll grab both of these things. And let's go back here to combat action. Wrong thing. Combat attack label. I know what I'm doing. Okay. Attack message. We're like a lot of squiggles, I know, because we're getting there. But don't worry. We'll get this. Okay, refresh label. We're done with that. Check input. Reset attack. We're good. Stop attack. Start attack. And is this even called anywhere? I don't remember using you. Yeah, apparently I do, but we'll leave that alone for now. Intersex, we don't care about you. You're not really a problem anymore. Oh, crap. No, actually, I lied. I am going to need that. Oh, jeez. That's going to get... Sorry, I'm like groaning audibly, but you have no reason to understand why. It's largely because of some annoying things that I'm going to have to deal with at a certain point, but not right now. So I'm not worried about it. Let's go over here to grab both of these things. Move these into combat attack label. And we're going to go... Is behavior coroutine used? Nope. Oh, we're getting rid of you. Okay. And let's see. Not much left there, so let's go ahead and grab our cache transform stuff. Just pull that over. Cache transform, which is somewhere around here. There we are. Oh, I'm also going to probably need the misspelled coroutine stuff. Let's go over here. And right there. All right. Seriously. I don't see any reason why I can't just do that. Okay, so attack message. We're not going to worry about on input fail. Not going to worry about on attack interrupted. And I think... Oh, right. We want the misspell and default color. So let's go up to... Let's grab these things. Oh. Let's see, where are you? Attack label, up to here, and for now we're just going to put this down here. Alright, so that took care of all the squiggles, and now we should have a basic set of functions to let us actually type things. Let's let that compile real quick, make sure I don't have any errors. And I'm going to take a drink while that's happening too, because I've been talking for a while. All right. So, attack section behavior is messed up. Seriously? Freaking ridiculous. I really hate the whole, different line endings thing. It drives me nuts. All right. Attack section clip and attack section behavior. Cool. So, here's where things get fun. For all of the actions that we have, when we get to on behavior play, we have to then instantiate a bunch of the actions, have them fade in, last for as long as the clip, and then have them go away. Which is Jeez. Not super easy. So we're going to have a couple of things that we need to do. First up, I'm going to make this an SOS playable behavior, which means I need to say using sleepyowl.common. So, no, what did I do? There we are. SOS playable behavior. And all that does is this is a custom class that I put together that lets me have some extra functionality. Like it lets me know where I am in the clip. I can get the normalized time. I can get the I guess I thought I had more than that, but I guess I'm not as super impressive as I thought. We might change that to also just let me get time. Oh, I guess that's what that does anyway. So, all right. Let's go ahead and close that. We might not end up actually using anything from that, but it's fine for now. Okay, so for this, we're not really going to need anything on graph start, I don't think. So on graph start, to give you a sense of how the timeline works, on graph start is called when the timeline starts playing. On graph stop is called when the timeline stops playing. On behavior play and on behavior pause are called when the actual clip is reached and when the clip is done, basically. And prepare frame is basically the equivalent to update. So, that would have been terrible. It would have been a terrible mess, too. Mostly because water is hard to clean up. So what we want here is we don't really need on-graph start and on-graph stop. We don't care about those. So we can get rid of those. And we're also going to need to do a couple of things. We're going to need to say using system.collections.generic because I need lists. So I'm going to need to say private list combat attack. Oh, right. I almost forgot. Put these in the combat layers. This is odd. Seriously? Like I couldn't do combat attack label? Huh. That's strange. Okay, so we're going to call these labels as equal to new combat attack label. Let's see. Get rid of all these comments because they're just generated by default. And I don't need them because I know what they all do. Aha! Progress has been made. Okay, so on behavior play, we have to do our safety checks. So we're going to say if application.isPlaying. So this application.isPlaying check is because if I don't have that, if I were to scrub through the timeline, it will try to actually do this stuff, and I don't want it to do this stuff at runtime or at edit time, because all that means is that it'll instantiate a bunch of labels and then do stupid stuff and not clean them up, and that breaks things, and then yeah, it's not fun. So I tend to wrap all of my stuff in the application is playing to make sure that it only fires when we're actually playing the app or playing the game. Okay, same thing for on behavior pause and prepare frame. All right, so what we're going to do here is we need to say if input.getKeyDown, or I'm sorry, not get key down, just get, or any down, I believe, yeah, any key down. And let's see, how did I structure it before? We did check input, which is in TQ combat. Does not equal null. Input. Yes, okay. So it's basically that, and then attack pattern is, okay. So we're going to go back here. We're going to say, before we do any of that, I'm also going to need to have private combat attack label current attack. Okay. So we'll say if input dot get, not get, just any key down. So that is fired whenever you type anything with the keyboard. So if any key is pressed down, we're going to say if current attack is equal to null, then, oh, wow, all kinds of things went wrong there. Then we're going to do something else. We'll say current attack dot check input, and I believe that's just going to be input dot, what is it, input string? Yes. Oh, and I should probably say and input string dot length is greater than 0. I don't think it's possible to have an input string that's less than 0, or that is 0, but just in case. And for those who haven't really used this, which I assume is most of you, input string is basically a string version of the key that you've pressed. It's possible to have multiple keys pressed at one time, and that will give you a multi-character input string, I believe. But it's very weird and hard to do that because it has to all be done on one frame. Anyway, so we don't have a current attack, then we need to check all of our attacks. So I believe the check for that is here, and we need to basically just loop through and see if we start with that key. Okay, so we're going to go back here, and we're going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than combat labels, or right, I just called it labels, didn't I? Labels dot count I plus plus. I'm going to say if labels of I. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and go over here to our attack label. That is why I had that there before. So I'm going to go ahead and say public string action string get return action. Oh, it's called action message, isn't it? Or is it action string? Okay, why aren't you filling in? Attack message, that's what it's called. Attack message. Okay. Let's go ahead and copy that and paste that in there. Cool. Alright, let's go back here. We're going to say if the attack message of 0 dot equals, and I'm doing a manual dot equals instead of just double equals because I want to do a I always want to say orthogonal, that's not what it is, ordinal comparison, is equal to input dot input string of 0, I believe, and then we're going to say crap. Frack, can I do that? Surely I can, right? Is there really not a string comparison that I can do for chars? Timeout. I want to make sure that I'm not doing this stupidly. Sharp. Compare char. Not invariant. Let's see. I don't really want to convert them because that's just generating new chars. Gross. Okay. So I just have to. Okay. So we'll change this a little bit, and instead of doing 0, I guess we're going to do dot starts with, and we'll say starts with input dot input string, and then system dot string comparison dot ordinal ignore case, I believe is what we want. So that whole, all those hoops that I jumped through was because this is the fastest way to compare strings without paying attention to their capitalization. We don't really care if it's a capital A or a lowercase a, just as long as you type A when it's correct. Okay, so if that's the case, then we're going to set our label, our current attack to be that. So we'll say current attack is equal to labels of I. We'll say current attack dot check input dot input string. Okay, and then we're going to break out because we don't care about anything after that. So that should more or less work. I'm actually hoping that we can just keep this within the behavior here, because then we don't even need to make a call to a centralized combat system. We can just keep track of it here. That is exciting. Okay. Oh boy, this is going to be so problematic. Let me think. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to clean these things up, but I might not need to worry about that right now. Anyway, let's go ahead and spawn the attacks right now. So prepare frame down here should be checking the attack and then letting us type things in. On behavior play, we need to actually spawn all of these attacks. So we're going to need, in addition to all of this, we are going to need, let's go up here, we're going to say serialize field, private, combat, attack label, label, prefab. Let's go ahead and tooltip this so I don't forget what it is. Prefab for the attack labels. I love it when, you know, the tooltip is the name, pretty much. Actually, I hate that. It's one of my pet peeves about Unity. All right, so we're going to need to go up here. We're going to say public combat label, or attack label, label prefab. Cool. And then in our attack section clip, we're going to go ahead and say behavior dot failure timeline is equal to failure timeline. Behavior dot label prefab is equal to label prefab. Behavior dot actions is equal to actions. Okay. And now we can spawn all of these. So we're going to want to say, let's see, we'll want to say for int I equals 0, I is less than actions dot length I plus plus. We're going to say actions of I dot. So I don't really have. I don't have a is valid. I probably should add that. So we're not really going to pay attention to criteria for now. We're just going to spawn everything in. But in the future, we might have things like certain choices may randomly be there just to spice things up a little bit. But I'm not too sure how much randomization I want to have. After all, I hate randomization. It's honestly one of my biggest pet peeves in games. Mostly because I have terrible luck, and that's why I don't play roguelikes, because I always get screwed. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and spawn things in. So we're going to say combat attack label is equal to, I need to use, oh good, I already am, is equal to pool manager dot request. And we're just going to pull in, let's see, we're going to pull in label prefab, and it's going to be parented to. I forget. Do I have a thing that lets me not do that? No. So I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to say. Frack. Really? I thought I gave myself a. Apparently I didn't. Oh well. I guess we will say. Actions of I dot our spawn point, and we're going to actually need to say actions of I dot parent to spawn question mark. If so, we're going to say pool manager dot request label prefab null, then actions of I dot spawn point dot position. I've never done this before. Will this work with me? You won't. Oh, I guess I can just do that. I was so close. It won't do it. What on earth are you talking about? You should be able to do null, and then why are you complaining? This is totally a valid thing. Like right there. It doesn't want to do it though. Interesting. So I can't. It's probably because of the comparison there, or I'm doing something really stupid. Am I doing something really stupid here? I might just be doing something really stupid here. Like for example, if I were to do this. Aha! It's because wait, what? Are you serious? let me type this out again. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, so you should be able to see like a vector. Oh, it's because I need to give it a quaternion. Duh, that's why. I can't just give it that. I need to say quaternion dot identity. That's fine. Okay, there we go. All right, so if we want it to spawn to the parent, then we will actually spawn it to the parent. If we don't want it to spawn to the parent, then we will just spawn it at the parent's position. Then we won't pay any attention to it. Although I actually have this backwards right now, so I need to change this. There we go. All right, so that's our label. Then we will eventually need to say labels.add label. Okay. Now, for the rest of that, we are going to need to assign our actual attack phrase. So we'll need to say, I think we need an initialize function. If I remember correctly, there is an, yes, here it is, start attack. Yeah, which does a whole thing. Yeah. Meh. Okay. So we'll probably want to pull this in. Have this be a combat attack label. It's kind of annoying just because it's not doing, like, there's a bunch of stuff in here that we don't really need. So I'm going to go ahead and say, like, hide this, hide this. We need to say using sleepyowl.common up here. I should get rid of some of them. I suppose I can do that. Let's go ahead and grab this. So the cache name stuff was mostly for me to help with debugging. Don't really need it anymore, I don't think, but I'll keep it in there just as a nice thing to have for debugging purposes. Is attacking, we do not care. And, oh, I lied. We actually do need that, don't we? Which is great, because that means I need to have is attacking up here, right? Maybe not. Let me go back here real quick. Is attacking, I believe, is used to prevent you from typing whenever it runs out of time. Or not. Is it really just used? Is it really just being set? Oh, no, that's the while loop. Okay. Huh. So it's not really used by anything, so I don't actually need that. Never mind. We're going to get rid of this start coroutine, fade coroutine for now. I lied. We're going to keep that in there, and I'm going to move the... Okay, I got rid of it. Because of course I did. Because of course I did. Combat attack. Grab you. Steal everything. Ah! I don't know if I feel good or bad about stealing all of my old code. Let's go ahead and grab this. Put this back in here. I mean, fortunately, this is kind of something that I knew I was going to do anyway. I knew I wasn't really going to have great group. Let's go ahead and get rid of you. And before we do anything with that, what is group? Group is a canvas group, I'm guessing, but I'm presuming this is a cached value, or did I sign that? Really? I did. Oh, gross. Okay. Well, I don't really see a need for that, so because our combat attack label already has a canvas group, it requires that, which I guess means I can just convert this back to using canvas group. Canvas group. Okay. That works. All right. So I think this will work. Let's go back here to attack section behavior, and we're going to say label.startAttack. We're going to pass in the word, which is going to be taken from our actions of I.command. Okay, and that's all we care about for now. On behavior pause. Let me think. We probably need to recycle them, but for now, we'll recycle them. For int I equals 0, I is less than labels.count, I++. At the end here, we'll say labels.clear. We'll also say current attack is equal to null. Okay. And there's a bunch of event listeners that we're going to need to assign eventually, but for now, we don't really care about that, so we're just going to go ahead and say pool manager dot recycle labels of I dot game object. Okay. Let's go ahead and I want to try this. I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be good. I will be quite impressed if it even works. But I think we might be able to have it spawn attacks and then have it actually have them update with you. I don't know if they'll look correct. I don't think they will. But we might be able to see some sort of gameplay at the very least, instead of just looking at me coding forever. Okay, so we need to go to our initial timeline. We need to go here, and we need to set our attacks up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this basic attack. Before I do that, I'm actually kind of curious to know what my original label said. Oh, and okay, it's just set attack. So I'm going to change this to say attack. Okay. I'm going to grab this. We have our canvas and all this fun stuff. The event camera stuff. Probably need to do something about that, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. False choice false choice behaviors. Right. We need to handle that at some point, but we're not going to worry about that for now. Default indicator color. These are not actually used, I don't think, right now, so we're not going to worry about them either. Let's go ahead and make this a prefab. Let's see, so where are you? Those are the old combat attacks. Where's the new ones? Here we are. We're going to go ahead and create a folder called prefabs. Prefabs. We will have a folder for that called attacks. Let's go ahead and pull this in. Basic attacks. Okay, so we're going to not delete these yet. Not yet. Instead, I am going to go ahead and create a new transform value. We're going to zero it out. Oh, it's the scale. I didn't think about that. This is going to be interesting. Okay, we'll leave it like this for now. But I do think this is going to become problematic. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make an empty game object here. I'm going to call this attack positions. Okay, let's pull this in. This is going to be our left, I believe. Yep. Move that to there. Let's duplicate it. Got a basic attack here. Rotate this. This is going to be our jump. Okay, let's put this here. And one more. Here is the right. Right. Let's see if we can get this to work. I will be so happy. So we have an initial timeline. Let's pull up our timeline again. Click on this. We don't need to worry about our failure timeline yet. Our basic attack is there. Here is oh, that's the playable director, right? Oh, son of a. You're gonna be like that, aren't you? Ah, come on! Why you gotta do that to me? Custom inspectors. Fine. Oh, right, I can't do that. Hooray, my own design. What the heck is going on here? Seriously? Can I even, I can check you off. What a jip. This is actually super weird because there it is. I've never seen that before. That's really awkward. No way. Are you telling me that this has to... Oh, right, that's why. Duh. I was stupid. Really? Okay. So a couple of things have to happen. We gotta go to combat action here. Combat action. This transform now needs to be an exposed reference. Exposed reference. I'm gonna grab this. Oh, wow, that is really not fun. Okay. Shoot. So that's what was that's why I couldn't do anything with this. So with timelines, they're all stored in assets. So if you want to reference something in the scene, you have to have it referenced as an exposed reference. It becomes exceedingly difficult to do that at runtime and with nested objects. So this is quite annoying. Frack. Okay. I think I know how to get around that. It's just going to be awkward. Maybe. Okay. This is going to be interesting. So we're going to go ahead and have another public transform. And this is going to be called true spawn, I guess, for now. What a terrible name. We're going to go ahead and make our default spawn point an exposed reference. So we'll say exposed reference of type transform. All right. And here is, by the way, where this gets super fun. So in our attack section clip, before we set our actions to be this, we're actually going to do this. We're going to say for int I equals actions, or is equal to 0, I is less than actions dot length. I plus plus. We're going to say actions of I dot true spawn is equal to actions of I dot spawn point and dot resolve graph dot get resolver. I really hope this works. I think it will, but we'll find out. Okay. So what's awkwardly going to happen there is basically I'm going to have this spawn point here, which I was motioning with my hand, and you guys can't see that obviously. It's no longer going to be, oh, really? Are you not going to like that? Oh, right. I need to change that real quick. Where are you? So this needs to change to true spawn. Okay. And then true spawn. All right, let's let that compile. So this is a very hacky way of getting this to work, but I'm more interested in seeing if we can even get things typed tonight, because that's the goal. I want to get things typed, or typable, or something. Some sort of interaction would be nice after two streams of working on this. All right, so now, there we are. So now you can see it's got this like slightly shifted field, and now I should be able to pull in, there we go. So let's make our transforms all over here be cool. And this is the moment of truth. Let's go ahead and turn these guys off. I am going to turn off our combat view, and I'm going to set this initial timeline to just play on start. Okay. I'm also probably going to go ahead and set this duration to be 15 seconds, just so that I can be sure that I have enough time to actually see everything. So let's see what happens. Oh, I hope nothing terrible happens. Probably something bad will happen. Hard drive deleted. It's only a matter of time. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Yes! It works! Yes, this pleases me. Okay, so we have the attacks showing up. They are not facing the right way, though. That's kind of weird. So I can like start typing yes. Then they awkwardly fade out, which is weird. Okay, so they don't handle backspace yet, which is fine. And yeah, I was waiting for that. I was gonna say that's why I made it 15 seconds, because they just like get blown away at the end there. I'm gonna try misspelling one as I type to see if it does the red tint and all that. It does, hooray! So that's our incorrect letter typing. Cool. All right, so now we need to know if you have succeeded in typing an attack, or if you don't finish typing an attack. We also need to handle backspace, which is awkward. I'm actually curious. I want to say if input dot any key down, we will debug.log input string. I want to know what the input string is if I hit backspace. If it is not anything, which most likely it is nothing, then I will have to come up with a way of detecting what happens when you press backspace. So the old combat system, or the existing combat system, doesn't really handle backspace because, well, they're short letters, or they're short words, although I thought I added backspace support. Does it really not have backspace support? I could have sworn that I added that. But maybe I don't have that. It's entirely possible that I don't. Let's see. Nope, I don't think I do. Well, anyway, but because combat is more puzzle-oriented kind of now, you need to be able to backspace. Otherwise, you could start typing something by mistake and not realizing you're like, oh, well, I guess I'm just boned and have to continue down this path. And obviously, that would be very frustrating, so you don't want to do that. But let's go ahead and play this just to see what things look like. Next step after this would be getting events to fire when you successfully complete an attack. Okay, so we're going to say like J. Okay, so backspace, interesting it is, you'll notice that it's like highlighting, which means that it's, does that mean that it's nothing or that it's an invisible char? So I'm probably going to have to do, where are you? Attack behavior. I'm super excited though that I didn't have to like put this in a centralized location. I can just do it on the behaviors themselves. That's very exciting. Okay, so I'm going to just load this string up with brackets on both sides. I typically do this as a way for me to easily identify what it thinks a string is. It makes sure that I don't have like extra white space or anything like that. Because that's a more common thing than you would think. It's very frustrating when that happens. It's also going to be really annoying just because if backspace is firing a special character, I might have to like convert it to a char and then get that char's Unicode out, and then I could maybe check to see if it's the backspace Unicode char, and that would be super awkward. So jump, and we're going to say backspace. Okay, so it is nothing. It is an empty string because you can tell that those are together. So, okay. So apparently the input string is nothing when it's backspace, which makes sense. Which is awkward because that means that I need to now figure out how to detect where, or if backspace was clicked. Bah. Okay. Okay. I don't know what to do here. That's not right. That is definitely not right. Hold on. So you'll notice that when I was typing backspace or hitting backspace, I was getting the wrong letter input or the wrong letter prompt, so the letters were flashing red. But that should only happen if input string.length is greater than 0, which means that the length of the string is actually, it's not nothing. So let's see, 0 is going to be that, and then we'll say 1, and I guess that means that I'm going to do, let's see, input string.length. Okay, and then following that, I guess we'll do one more special check, which is just going to be so 2 here, and we're going to say input.input string.length is greater than 0 question mark. If that's the case, then we're going to say input dot, oh, this is super awkward. I hate it when I do this. Input string of 0 dot, can Can I do get char? I thought there was like a char Unicode thing I could do. Hold on, char dot. That's probably not what I want. All right, let's do this, and then we'll say null. So that's probably gonna have to be toString. Yep, null. Okay, so let's try this again. That should now output the string wrapped in quotes, the length of the string, and then the first char of the string, if it's greater than 0, or null if it's not actually got any length, which is a paradox, because if that's the case, then I don't know how I was getting as far to check me typing, if I was typing the correct character. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit play. And Shazam! Abracadabra. Okay, jump. I'm going to hit backspace. It has a length of 1. You'll notice there I was able to get 2 by hitting F and G at the same time. But, yeah, backspace does not generate anything, interestingly enough. It's nothing. Which is usually indicative of it being, well, no, maybe input string is just always at least 1 char long, which would be stupid, but okay, how would I want to handle this? It's so gross. It basically means if I can't get a reliable string back, then I need to basically do a manual check to see if you've hit backspace, but I don't want to do that. Let me see if I can, let's see, C#, char to Unicode. I do not remember what the process is for this. I do remember that it is a process converting the Unicode character to, or converting a char to a Unicode character. And if we can get that, then I can check to see if it's like the Unicode character for backspace. And then if that's the case, I can actually do something with that. Sneezed really hard. Excuse me. I need to get some tissue. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see. So, I need... Really? That doesn't seem right. Really? I thought... Huh. So you do just have to do an X4. Interesting. I guess that's true. I didn't think about converting it to an int. So let's go ahead and say this, and we'll convert it to an int. And then we'll change this to be 0 as nothing. And I suppose we can try .toString, and then, what was it, x4? So I guess you'll want to be string. This is like x4. Why are you mad? Oh, right, here. Let's do this. So I guess x4 is a thing, apparently? I don't know. Let's figure it out. I just want to know what it is. I want to know if it's a valid string that we're getting back, or if it's just nothing. If it's a null char. That's really all I want to know. Okay. Clear, maximize on play. Okay, so jump and backspace. Okay, so it is something. It's 008, I guess. So let's see. Wrong thing. Let's pull this up. Code 008. Or is it 0008? 0008. Okay. Yes! Alright. Cool. I wonder. Okay, I'm going to take away this toString part. I want to know if that's just going to give me like an 8 then. I would prefer not to have to like cast it and create a manual Unicode char every time I need to do something, because that would basically mean I have to cast it to a char, then cast it back to cast it to a Unicode string, then cast it back to a char, then cast it back to a string. And it just, yeah, not the best. So let's go ahead and clear that. I did save that, right? Yep. Okay. Let's see what that new backspace character looks like, and if it works, I will be super excited. Okay, so it's just 8. That's fine. Okay. So we're going to go to combat attack label, and we're going to say check input string key. If key to lower... Oh, wow, yeah, we can get rid of like all of this. Well, no, it's fine for now. We're going to want to say... So in the else here, we need to say if key is equal to 8. That can't be right. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, 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 nope. 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 Okay. So crap baskets. Shoot. Okay. I guess we would do this then. If key of 0, cast this to an int, is equal to 8. Else. Okay, here we are. So this is going to be just a special backspace. I was going to say background. Backspace. Then we actually want to current index minus minus, and then refresh label. So let's try this. And if I'm right, what it should do is it should let me just like type part of a attack phrase, and then it should just allow me to hit backspace to get rid of some of the letters that I've typed in order. Assuming that this all works correctly. I'm a little concerned about what the 8 key will do, so I guess I should try typing that first to see what happens. So let's... Oh, good. It's something completely different. That's what I was expecting. But... Yes! Nice! Cool. And then it can go away. So we do have a couple of things we need to do. If our current index reaches 0, we need to fire an event that lets the behavior know that we have reset what we're currently doing. So we need to change our current attack to be null again. So let's get our events set up. I'm going to go ahead and steal my combat attack events from over here. We're going to go ahead and grab you. We will say combat attack label. Let's go up here to the top. It is not going to pass anything. And I don't... Well, I don't think it's necessary for us to really pass anything. I feel like it can be just a parameterless event. But that might change in the future. Actually, no, we definitely need to know which one it is, because otherwise we won't be able to tell which attack you completed. So I'm going to go ahead and say, actually, no. No, I don't, because you can't type multiple ones. Oh, that's a lie. There might be multiple ones that come up in quick succession later. Crap. Okay. Fine, we'll pass in the combat attack label. Combat attack label. All right. We're gonna go down here. Let's see. So we're not gonna do attack interrupted. We're going to do really on input failed. That's. I don't think we really need that, do we? I guess we can have it. Okay. Let's see. What else do we want? We need. Let's see. Attack complete. That doesn't. What are these? It's on attack complete and on. Okay. Oh, right. Okay, I know what's happening here. So going back to combat attack, I have public functions for those things. That's why I had them. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move some of this over again. I basically just ended up pulling most of that code in. Ugh. But what are you gonna do? Oh, it's fine. So I'm gonna go ahead. This is by the way why I was getting problems. I don't need that start function anymore. Let's go paste this up here. Check input. We're gonna go ahead and say reset attack. Pull this in. We're checking input. High indicator, show background. Refresh label. Attack complete. Attack interrupted. And attack misspell. I guess we can put these in here. Let's go back to combat attack label. Attack misspell right here. We don't care about his attacking. It's not really a thing anymore. And okay. So get rid of you and get rid of you. Okay. So this is where things will get to be fun. Probably should change my duration to last longer than 1 second. But let's go ahead and we'll, just for default sake, in this behavior, come over here, we'll say start attack, and then instead of 1 second, we'll make it, I don't know, 10 seconds. Okay. So all of those things should now fade in. We need to actually listen to them, though. So I'm going to go ahead and say we need to go down here, add some functions. Private void on attack complete. Combat attack label. Private void on attack interrupted. Combat attack label. Then private void on attack. I don't actually know if I have another one of those. So I'm going to go up here. We're going to say label dot on attack complete plus equals on attack complete. Label dot on attack interrupted plus equals on attack interrupted. All right. So, as paradoxical as it might sound, on attack complete is not called when you type it. It's called when it just naturally fades in and out. On attack interrupted is called when you actually do type it in all the way. And let's see. So we're going to want to just set some values here. So on behavior pause, we're going to have a bool state. No, it should probably be a private string choice. Attack choice. Yes, and at the end here, on behavior pause, we will say if attack choice dot, we'll just say if it's equal to nothing. Then we're going to want to say debug.log. You know what, screw it. We're just going to change this real quick. So I'm going to say debug.log string.is null or empty attack choice. If it is null or empty, question mark, then we're going to say failure. Else we will just simply output attack choice. Okay. And then on attack complete, we're going to say attack choice is equal to label.attack message. On attack interrupted, I'm sorry, not attack complete. I almost fell into my own trap. We also need to actually, real quick, go back up here, and I need to say, instead of on attack, let's copy this, paste this in. I'm going to call this on attack reset. I don't want to say reset. Backspaced. Ugh. Okay. We're going to go ahead and go over to attack misspell. Nope. Above this. Here we are. Check input. So current index minus refresh label. And then we're going to say if current index is less than or equal to 0, we will call on attack backspaced this. Okay. I did properly make that, didn't I? Yes, I did. Good. So we're going to go back up here, and we're going to say private void on attack backspaced combat attack label. All right. Then we're going to say, you know what? Actually, before we even do that, we're just going to say current attack is equal to null. That's all we really care about. Okay. I think that's everything we needed. No, hold on. Aha, yep. Label dot on attack backspaced plus equals on attack backspaced. Okay. So now I should be able to spawn the attacks, type part of one in, backspace it, and then start typing another one, and it should be fine. It should let me actively change targets that way. And I think if that works, we're probably going to call it a night. We don't quite have flow working yet, but we do have it typing and backspacing, which is a step already above what we have currently. So let's go ahead and play this. Okay. Yes! So now if I try to type J, you notice that right is flashing, that's backspace, and now if I type J, oh yeah! Yep, and it even successfully determined that I typed jump. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this play for a little bit, and then I'm going to... so I need to just let it run out, basically, so that we can see if it successfully logs failure. But yeah, we got backspacing working. That's exciting. I know it really doesn't seem like much, but actually that's pretty cool. I'm surprised at how easy that was to implement. Did it not? Oh, it's because it... There it is, failure. Did it fire twice? Let me check that. Fired twice. That's weird. Actually, that's quite distressing. That's very distressing. It fires just on pause. Oh dear. We're gonna have to figure something out about that. Interesting. Okay. Well, it works. Kind of. Sort of. In a very early kind of way. Okay, so I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. So we have attacks generating. We have them typable. For some reason, it is not continuing. Like, this has been 15 seconds. What's going on here? Yeah, there's the index out of range exception I was worried about. Anyway, so we have attacks showing up. We have them actually spawning in and being positioned, which is great. They're not just hard set in the scene anymore. We do have an approach to phases and systems, or not systems, stances kind of in there, but we don't actually have that functioning yet. So yeah, a lot more groundwork laid. Again, this is gonna be one of those things that's kind of frustrating because we'll work on it in code for quite a while, and then towards the end it'll just all come together really quickly, and we'll have a really cool combat system if I can get this right. I'm already like just being able to backspace is a huge advance over the previous version. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and call that a night. So as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.